Hello, I just wanted to make a recap video and a correction of certain statements that I said at the original point when I was still trying to figure it out, and I'm still currently trying to figure it out. But anyways, I thought it would be best that I recap and re-say, is fix a couple things that aren't so definitive when I shouldn't be so definitive, is basically the point of this video. Now, on April 18th, 2022 is the last up-close experience that I had. It was with a woman within an orb and a dragon to the left of her. And the dragon on the left was a cosmic dragon, and the woman within both of them were within orbs. But the woman on the right, she was wearing an all-black dress with a black camel over her eyes in the shape of a triangle. It went up the whole way across. She had black hair, extremely big brown eyes. She was about 3.5, 4 foot. She also was barefoot with camouflage still on her feet. So that was different. And the cosmic dragon, well, he looked a lot like a Chinese dragon. This is a cosmic dragon. There's 4 different types of dragons. I have done a bit of research since that time. It's been 11 months. I'm still researching, but I don't feel that I should be too definitive. Now, the reason for that is because I wasn't given a name specifically. I went off of what I was able to research at the time. What I was able to research at the time was, first thing, I'll start in the order where I think I might have got it wrong and where I think I still need adjusting, and that is the point of this admission, obviously. But when I first started off, I found Armin-Ru, which is the brother of Amun-Ra. This all comes back from basically from Atlantis to Mars story over to Egypt. It's actually long, so I won't get into that. That one's it's not definitive. It's not an exact one. That was the first one that I came across. The second was Minerva. Now, I mentioned it in my previous admission as it being Minerva. The reason why doing so is because Minerva is known to go along with a dragon on her side everywhere she goes. Now, that's how what the books read. Obviously, in most history books, they see her as only in an all-white dress, very tall, has the centurion helmet, and a spear or a sword, normally a spear though. Anyways, I went with that depiction there because I was trying to find the normal or proper way to explain what I've seen. I don't feel that it was correct for me to name that way, especially when I was unsure. Now, I have a notepad, just a couple jotted notes that I'll go through after, and then there's also another book, which you could find almost every dragon encounter throughout history. So I've been trying to piece them together here and there. I've also found a couple that weren't in that book that still depict a dragon along a woman's side, a deity's side, and that comes from later on. We'll get to that in a second. Basically, what I want to start with though is the experience. So I was in the backyard, April 18th. It was 2:16 in the morning is when I took the photo. I couldn't tell you if it was any earlier. Whatever, we won't go there. We'll leave that the way it is, and we'll say 2:16 to be as close as I can to exact. And I'm in the backyard watching the skies, which is no different than any other day, just a little bit later than normal. And I hear a bang. I was about to go and look and see what the bang was, but I decided to forget it. I'm just going to stay here. As I did that, I was laying on a hammock, and 2 orbs went over top of my head. They were both pinkish red, and they had a tail streaming from them, like a light trail. And in the right side, this was the woman, and I just specified that I might have called her by an incorrect name at the time, and that's the point of this readmission. I left the original video up, but I left it as unlisted. I have no problem sharing it. If anybody would like to see the then from the now, simply ask and it's there. Um, but I did, like I said, I felt that it was improper that I named it without being so definitive, and I'm still searching for the name. Work in progress. Back to the story. So the two orbs go over my head. Within the orbs, there is a woman on the right hand side, and she's wearing an all black dress with very big brown eyes, camel on her eyes, in the form of a triangle. And it went the whole way across her eyes. She had black hair coming down, and she was about 3, 4 feet. So, the rest of the side body was proportionate to the size, but she was not wearing any shoes. On her feet, there was also camouflage. Don't ask me what that's about. This is actually why I'm doing the readmission, because that description, that look, doesn't match the name first I gave. That is actually the reason why I want to correct this, because if I tie a name to it, then, maybe I'll miss something, or maybe I throw something off, which I feel like I might have by being too definitive when I'm not sure of the name. Now, on the left-hand side, there was a dragon. It's a cosmic dragon. So this is the Chinese dragon. Basically, they're known for water, storms, and this. So, like you've seen from many Chinese legends and myths, this dragon was also about 3 to 5 feet, maybe. Let's go in between there. Both of them were within the orb, so I want to put them proportionate the same size as they looked. They went over my head. She looked down at me, went like this, looked at me. I made eye contact with her. I really couldn't say anything but wow. So I put my hand up like this and I was like, wow, right? They take off this. So I'm going to turn for a second so I can sort of show you. They take off going like this, and then both of them turned to their side, did a swirl, and shot off to the sky. So this happened basically behind where I'm sitting in the backyard, right around there. Um, the reason why I wanted to go back through all this was the description I just gave you of the woman within the orb. The design was made out of a streak of light that was coming off the back of the orbs that both of them were in. As far as I can tell you, I didn't have a conversation. We had an eye contact and a beautiful sight for me. Uh, you know, Now these are the descriptions that I've came up with around the history books that sort of they match, but there's a couple that don't match perfectly. I can start this way by saying a description, depiction, this look, the actual physical look, it doesn't match most of these. That's why, like I said, that's why I'm redoing this. The encounter didn't last too long. It was a eye contact moment. Uh, my jaw was dropped. Honestly, I don't know if I could have said anything if I wanted to. Who knows? But anyways, they went over. They made eye contact. I made eye contact with both of them. She was the most obviously, and she looked down at me. What I can say was her eyes were extremely big. They were much bigger than our eyes, obviously. Um, Anyways, she does the spin. They both go off to the sky. And from that point on, I went searching for names. The names that I found, I don't feel were correct. So I wanted to do this and correct it, which I've already stated. Now, we went through the Minerva one. Now I'm going to tell you what I have found on these and why I'm still unsure. So, under most of these, I always find this exact woman and a dragon under a creator goddess story. If we go in time, it goes from, I believe that was Mesopotamia. Tiamat? Tiamat has the dragon, and they were actually known as creator gods. And then later they had a tiff. I think it was the kids and the kid gods and the older gods. They had a little battle there. So they wanted to overthrow their parents and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to give a run through of simply what ones do kind of fit, and I'm just gonna recap it again at the end. Then later on, we have 43 BC, Catamus. He was slaying a dragon. This dragon actually depicts that it has the mother Mother Earth bit in there as well, but they mention this dragon as being the dragon of Mars. So that one there actually fits more into the Roman aspect, which is, you know, this is why I'm correcting everything. It's very hard. I can't put my thumbs directly on an actual definitive name. I understand that deities are known. Well, the female deity, she's known in 3 aspects and by 99 names. So, you know. Then we go up the ladder here and we find that Mother Earth instructed a dragon whose name was Latin uh, to coil himself around the tree of life and guard it. This is actually a Hercules story. You'll find this one under Homer, and Hercules actually goes off to slay this dragon. I believe it was for a woman. Most of the time it is when it comes to that. Then I'm going to go across the continent to the west here for a second. Mayan god creator. This is an older one. This one here actually is slightly different as well, because this is not just a woman and a dragon. This is actually depicted in the Mayans as a male and a dragon. And the Mayans will tell you in the older days that they had a little he-her thing going on where the gods were known not by sex identification, but by being a god or goddess. So this story there actually goes into the male aspect of it, though. So I couldn't tell you if there's a relation other than the fact that it's a Mayan god and a dragon, and they were known by Heart of Sky, and the dragon was known as Plum Serpent. He was also known for storms and floods, which is said about the flood myth is done by a dragon. And then she was known, or he was known, as Heart of Sky. This is actually a common term. That term there, Heart of Sky, is actually a common term for a handful of different deities. And that's why this one gets so confusing. And again, this is why I'm correcting. Now we're going to go over to 15th century artwork. Constantine actually had a site where he was given a sign. And the sign that he saw, honestly, it looks very similar to the sign that I saw, just in reverse, as they depict with the art. The only difference was is that the X was added later to that, but the actual sign itself is very similar. There's a small little thing of it. So, anyways, that one there, you'll find that in 15th century artwork where they're writing in Greek instead of in Latin, which the meaning changes slightly, but this is a different story, kind of, not really. Now we'll go to the Chinese. I think I might have already said that one, sorry. If I didn't, the Chinese, that's also a creator god. She is a woman depicted with a dragon's tail, along with a flood dragon, another storm, a water related dragon to storms, floods, and etc. They were both creator gods. I can go on many more times with examples of female deities along with a dragon that are creators. In fact, you can even go, yeah, you can go basically anywhere in the world with that story. And this is why I wanted to correct it as a recap here and specify that I should not be attaching a name when I was not given the name. I know what I saw and I know when and how it was, but I was not given a name. So basically, this is the recap, and I'll end this video here because it's already long enough. And I wanted to specify that the encounter that I had was 2 orbs coming down. There was a loud bang behind me of the roof, and I'm laying in the backyard. Again, they come over my head. We make eye contact. Um, she kind of looked almost like different. It was definitely different dimension look. If I had to put it in a simple way for somebody to understand, but with all respect intended, almost look cartoonish, you know? But anyways, she looks down at me, I look up at her, I'm saying, wow, I look over at the dragon looks at me, and both of them take off. They start doing a spin, they spin their bodies, and then they twirl and shoot off to the sky. It was amazing. But anyways, like I said, this is a recap video of April 18th at 2:16 in the morning, and it's to specify that I was not given a name, and I wish to correct that. As much as, it may look fishy or funny, uh, I simply want to get it exact. And if I'm attaching names that I was not given, I could be missing a piece of my own story that I'm trying to figure out. So I want to take that name aspect out of it and specify that I've only found them as a mother creator god, goddess, and a dragon, as seems to be similar when it's a cosmic dragon. It's always related to waters and floods and storms. So thanks for your time. I appreciate you hearing it. That's a recap and an adjustment of what I originally said so I can do my best to be exactly precise as possible. Well, as much as I can, at least. Sort of said that backwards, but you know what I mean. Thanks.